Okay, so now we are ready to work on describing the About Us section, and this is all that we have to replicate. It's a very simple page, just some text which animates, and in the background we have this image. So let's get to it. Okay, so this is our About Us section. We already have a heading and we have some text, but we have to put it inside a div so that we can easily define separate styles for that div. So contents, the class name that we are giving is content, and put the text back. Okay, now let's go and define the styles for this. Since we have h1 in other sections as well, so we are going to define some styles for general h1, and then for the sections, if there is a need, we will define further styles specific to that section. Okay, so this is main. Let's define h1 before the section. I almost forgot. We have to change the contents of h1 as well. So if this is about us, change it to 1. Okay, let's change the font size to, let's make it 1.5 frame. Color, primary text. For the font family, copy, paste it over here. Text align center. Let's place margin bottom 3 rem. Text transform, capitalize. Okay, so these are the basic properties that every h1 element is going to have. However, for the h1 in the About Us section, it animates as well. So those properties we are going to define separately because the other h1s might not have that animation. So over here, About section begins, About h1. So over here we are going to define the properties which are going to make it animate, but we will get to that part later. Let's keep it empty for the time being. Now let's define some properties for the About section itself. So for the background color, some congested properties. So background and fallback color in case the image is not able to be displayed. So primary color. Now for the URL, which will display the image. So images folder, and then we have image 2. Then we want the image to be centrally aligned with respect to both horizontal and vertical axis, and we want to set the object width property to cover as well. So the short form is center/cover. And then we have to insist that if the image is smaller, it should not be repeated in order to cover the whole parent div. So no repeat. Okay, why is the text so small? Let's make it 2.5 frame. Okay, that's better, but I think it's still small. 3 rem. Now we need some letter spacing because the letter seems congested. 0.2 rems. We only want just 2 pixels in between the letters. Yeah, I think that's better. Now we have to bring this in the center. So for that, let's go back to the About section. Over here, set display to flex. Flex direction column. Justify content center. And align item center. Okay, that's better. Now let's work on this text. So the text is about contents. Let's decrease the width to 80%. Let's make it font size 2.2 rem, and then we'll see the effect. But first, let's give it color. Color, secondary text, line height. It should be bigger than the font size. Our font size is 2.2, so line height, let's make it 3 rem. Okay, that's better. Do you think we should increase the font size of this h1? Let's go back to the h1. Okay, font size, let's make it 4 rem. Okay, that's better. Now bring in the animation effect. So for the animation effects, let's go down, back to the About section. Okay, so let's cut it and paste it at the end. Over here, define transform and translate X property minus 12%, then opacity to 0. And we need both of these properties for the about content section. So paste it over here. However, change the direction from minus 12 to 12%. Now at the end, about content dot show, comma, about h1 dot show, and paste back both of these properties and translate back to 0 and opacity to 1. Now we have to attach these classes to the intersection observer. So let's go to the script. Let's create two references. First one, let's give it name about h1, and for the second one, about content. About h1 and about contents. Okay, now let's go to the over here and change the class references to about content, and this one about h1. Okay, so now our intersection observer is observing these two elements as well. Refresh, home. Okay, good. Now we need to check its responsiveness. So first of all, let's see how does it look in 1200 viewport windows. Okay, I think for 1200 it seems to be fine. I don't think we even need to change the font size. So let's go and check 768. I think this is also fine. Now let's check 480. This is also fine. Okay. So as far as about us section is concerned, I think we are done. We don't need to define anything related to this section in the media queries. Now there are two things that need to be fixed. One of which is, if we click on this hamburger icon, this drop down menu appears. But then if we scroll down, the menu is supposed to disappear. But it's not disappearing. We have to click on this hamburger icon again to make it disappear. However, it should also disappear the moment the scroll bar moves even a tiny bit. So we have to fix this part. To do that, we have to go to script.js and we have to define this logic within this onScroll event. So over here, we have to say, when the scroll bar moves, we want this navbar class list dot remove active. This navbar represents the drop-down menu, and when the window is scrolled, then if this active class is present for this element, then remove it. The effect of this will be this drop-down menu will disappear. So let's try it out. Refresh. Even though we don't need to refresh, but it's a force of habit. Okay, so it disappeared. Click on home and it disappeared. Project and disappeared. So this problem is fixed. Now let's fix the problem number 2, which is, let's go to the home section. Okay, so we are at home section. Now let's refresh it. The moment page refreshes, you see the animation for both of these elements. However, let's go to the projects and now let's go back to the home. You will again see both of these animations. Okay, now let's go to the immediate section, that is about us. And now go back to the home section. You will notice the animation only happens for the slogan. Did you notice no animation happened for these buttons? The reason was, when we are on the about us section, a part of home section is still visible behind this navigation bar. So that's why the buttons, they are still present. They have never gone out of the viewport area, and hence the show class has never been removed from them. As a result, when we again go back up, because the show class was never removed, so we didn't see the animation. However, this element was further away, so it did go out of the viewport area, and hence show class was removed from this div. Therefore, when we came back, the show class was again added, and as a result, we saw this animation. However, when we go to any section other than the immediate section, let's say services, now if we go back, we will see the animation, because these two buttons are very far away from these services. So this is a problem only for the immediate section. Now, how can we fix this problem? Well, there are multiple options, but I think we are going to go with putting some margin bottom with this div, which contains these two buttons. So this is the style.css. First of all, let's go to the global part. And I think it's called hero buttons. Okay. So this is hero buttons. Let's put in some margin bottom. Let's put in 12 rem and see its effect. If this much margin doesn't work, then we will change it. Let's click on about and let's go back. And there is this animation. Now let's see, does it work for the normal windows? So about, go back. And it's working for the normal windows as well. Now let's check the 768 windows. About, go back. And it's working for this one as well. Now 480. Okay, so it's working. So we are done with problem number 2 as well. Now this is a clip that I'm recording after editing this whole video. The reason is while I was editing, I noticed my text is not symmetrical at the right side. So if you notice over here, you don't see any symmetry. However, at the left, you see a symmetry. Things get even worse when we go to smaller windows. Like now, if you notice, this looks very messy. So we have to fix this problem, which is very easy to fix. We simply have to go where we have defined this text, which is about contents, and we have to set its text align property to justify. So this is the part about contents, and over here, simply set text align to justify and see the magic. Now if you notice, this looks much more presentable. So it's fixed for all the windows. Okay, now this is the end of our today's video. We are going to start services in our next video. Until then, happy coding, and don't forget to comment, like, subscribe and share. Thank you so much.